What is the easiest way to enlightenment? So, I mean, I've been in this field for almost 50 years, and I'm teaching for 44 years with students in over 100 countries, and I've been very successful in refining and creating better and improved protocols over the time. And I noticed with those who were able to attain enlightenment levels, over the passage of time, what methods they followed, and those who, struggle really, to reach it. And I'm not trying to say that it is an easy thing, but there is a surer way and an easier way than, many people who's wasting decades, 50 years plus, and not getting any enlightenment. In this video, I will discuss my opinions on that, and we'll take it from there. I'd like to ask you a great favor. If you like the contents of my video, please remember to like and subscribe to my videos. This will help me reach out to more people. And for those who don't know me, I am Osman. I'm a bioenergy healer on a master level with telepathic healing capabilities, specializing in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, amongst a host of other physiological, psychological, and even spiritual ailments, especially alleviating the adverse effects of involuntary Kundalini awakening. I'm also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, having been practiced for almost 50 years and teaching for 44 years. In that period, I've studied under various masters from different schools of thought, from different cultures, not only from the yogic culture, different aspects of spiritual sciences. And I've gleaned out the most essential components from all of them and created my own unique protocols adapted more for the 21st century, making them much faster, easier, quicker, with results orientated, trying to bring about results as quick as possible, right? And to that end, I've also got students in over 100 countries today. One of my protocols that I really am very impressed with myself is the 5-minute yoga and meditation program that I created, which you can download for free from my website in return for a subscription to my blog. And my website is yogawellness786.com, where you can also get more information about my services. Also, remember, my therapies are all natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment. So, the easiest way to enlightenment is not something that I had studied anywhere or read anywhere. It's more from what I've observed over the decades, where some people were pretty ordinary, pretty regular people, and nothing special about them, and I knew them for decades, and they just adopted a certain technical procedure, and boom, within a short space of time, that means within a year or two, within a 2-year period, they attained enlightenment level, or um, the experience of the full awakening of the pineal gland, and the activation of the seventh chakra, completely immersed in it, where um, they, their consciousness was raised and was there, from the seventh chakra, observing the amazing uh, view, and perception from a complete perspective of the complete awakening of the mind, as described by Gopi Krishna, according to his definition of what enlightenment is. Although there are many definitions of enlightenment, and I don't agree that that is the full ambit of enlightenment. Awakening the pineal gland completely and being based in the seventh chakra. The seventh chakra is just the beginning. to go into one higher than that, the chakra above that, the eighth one, is Nirvikalpi Samadhi, or where one loses his identity in that stage. Doesn't mean your identity does not exist. It's just you shed your identity at that stage. Just like in the early stage of meditation, the very first stage, you shed your uh, perception of your body from your neck downwards, the full perception of your body. You have very light perception of your body from your neck downwards, and that intensifies where it becomes completely obliterated. But your body is still there. It doesn't obliterate your body, right? It's just because as you're going up, in levels, your consciousness level, and then you go to the dhyan state of meditation where you relinquish the identity with the mind completely stills, right? So it's as though your mind is not existing. You go into the delta state of frequency in your mind, and where it is called the no thought state in meditation science, nirmal stati. So just bear with me because I'm trying to explain the technical definitions, so and then then there is the stage of samadhi where you are thrown into an ocean of bliss and you experience extreme ecstatic bliss, love, and at the same time, you experience full knowledge as though every question that you had in your life suddenly gets answered as well, right? So, this is a samadhi state, and we are skipping the one stage where you can independently awaken the third eye. We're not discussing that, right? So in the process of meditation, usually the third eye completely activates before you experience the samadhi, and before the activation of the complete activation of the third eye, you will intermittently and for longer and longer periods experience the no thought state or the nirmalstati. It is an experience of non-awareness, and how that's experienced is you find gaps in time. You close your eyes and you'll be meditating for what seems to be 10, 15 minutes, and you can open your eyes and 4.5 hours would have elapsed, right? And uh, uh, this continuously repeats, and as your pineal gland activates completely, your next step is to completely activate. Why I say completely? Your third eye starts activating very early. One of the first signs that it's activated, of course, this not necessarily it activates before the sign, right? So one of the first signs, guaranteed 100% sign that it is maturing in its activation, right, is you'll get a white light that appears in this forehead area in your in what we could call it's in your mind's eye. Not no one else can physically see that light. Only you can see 24/7. It's in this area. Close your eyes or open your eyes, it's still there. So you're actually seeing that light through your third eye, right? And it can't see everything yet, but you will. It's a sign that whatever you're doing is correct, and you are maturing, and um, uh, you need to um, intensify your efforts in order to fully awaken it. And fully awakening it does not mean you're going to attain enlightenment easily. I've known people, many people, whose third eye is completely awakened, and decades have gone past and they were unable to attain enlightenment, right? So it is just you are able to perceive so much more. Your intelligence is so much more. I mean, the comparison to your normal intellect now and the wider intellect that opens up, capacity that opens up when your third eye completely opens, is a comparison to walking, the speed of walking, and breaking the light speed barrier, right? I'm not even saying walking and a bicycle, not walking and a car or a racing car, not walking and an aeroplane, not even walking and and a jet that breaks the sound barrier, not even that. And I'm saying breaking the the speed of light barrier. It is massive, that experience. That was my experience, right? And I'm describing to you my perspective on this. And so enlightenment is something that is not so easy. People really struggle with it. And I believe, I thought about it deeply, and I put two and two together from the many people that just seem to, get enlightenment just by following some simple they're not good in hatha yoga. They were not someone who meditates long hours and so forth, not good at meditation. They had some degree of, morality, and I mean high degrees of morality and ethics, but uh, is that like a requirement? Not really for this method, right? Because the method that I believe is the easiest way is pranayama or breath work. But why do so many people who's practicing breath work not attaining enlightenment? What's the missing link? Number one missing link is the method of breath work that they're using is not correct. They don't know the correct advanced way of doing the breath work. And secondly, is they are not observing a celibacy, right, during this period. You don't have to become a monk. You don't have to give up, your normal human functions for the rest of your life, just for the period where you want to attain the enlightenment for a few months to, a few years, right? So this is sometimes very difficult to attain if you're already in a relationship, or your and if your testosterone is high, this is also not a problem, because the pranayama, will help to sublimate, and convert. So you will have some degree of control, but you need the direction of someone on an advanced level yoga and meditation, who's an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, someone like myself, and can help guide you in this process, how to, transcend, because you need guidance in this development of the pranayama as well, and assistance with it. So any person can adopt it, right? And the other requirement, of course, is you have to be a vegetarian, right? Vegetarian is non-negotiable, um, in the beginning stages. Later on, after your enlightenment, you can like ease up, right? But just to not to dampen, because this thing can elude you, right? Attaining the samadhi can elude you. So we're referring to enlightenment for someone who can attain samadhi, right? Which is the goal of meditation science, yoga science, and or in Buddhist science called nirvana, right? um, and maturation of that is a bonus plus, right, to sabikalpi samadhi, where so you don't have to lose your identity. The samadhi, first level samadhi, you don't lose your identity of who you are. Second level, you lose it, but when you come back, you get your identity again, right? You get your ego again, and you get your body again, and you function as a human, but with once your consciousness is fixed on the superconscious level, where your pineal gland is fully active. That's when your third eye is always completely open 24/7, and your consciousness is rooted in your seventh chakra, where you can observe the world in its full spectrum, not just the small, less than a fraction of a percentage of what you can see, because from the light spectrum, human can only see 1%, right, of the light spectrum. But of all there is, it's not only light is existing, there's other thing as well in addition to light. So that's why I say less than a fraction of perception is less than a fraction of a percentage. And this is a scientific comment, right? So it will open up to closer to 100%, right? So what a massive difference that is. That's why it's a very big difference, right? In that perception level. So this opinion I came about by thinking deeply, and because from listening to a lot of podcasts, and especially listening to so many people who's had awakening experience, Kundalini awakening experience, um, awareness of the difference between the self as the observer and the mind separate and the body separate, and identifying the identity as a separate identity, and so forth, and people going into many years of practice, right? So it was a concern in my past when I used to hear of people practicing for long periods of time, and they said they don't have the right protocol, and I've got to develop the right protocol. And even my protocol is a little bit complicated, for enlightenment purposes. But then I said, can I make it even simpler and easier, right? Because not everyone's going to be able to practice long hours, like 12 hours of meditation a day. And Gopi Krishna, a good example. um, he practiced meditation. He was selected and attuned as a special candidate for the yoga field and trained in the yoga field, by great teachers and so forth. And then he put all his training into practice, from a from a teenager, and then as a young man, as a 17-year-old person, he started to meditate in a very dedicated manner for 17 years, right? From 3 a.m. every morning, he used to go into the ice cold river in sub-zero temperatures, right? In the north of India, in where it's snowing, the temperatures go to sub-zero. In the ice cold, and turn blue in his body, right? And go and sit in meditation for 3 hours every morning. And it took him 17 years before he had the experience of the full Kundalini awakening in his high power mode, and he got very adverse effects. Even though he was meditating for so long, his chakras ought to have been unblocked, but he got very ill. For a period of about 9.5 weeks, he was, I believe, hospitalized, and he felt it was a near fatal experience. He described it as a near fatal experience. And when he recovered, he abandoned a meditation for 4 years, right? And only after 4 years did he resume, and it took him a further 12 years to become fully established in the superconscious state, or the full activation of the pineal gland, and to be remaining in the experience of viewing the world from the consciousness awareness of the seventh chakra, where he was able to observe both the physical and the energetic spectrum, or the full spectrum, including the subtle energy spectrum, of what existence is in, right? And he says, he described it as so amazing. You can even do, research on this. So in that state, yes, people experience ecstasy, bliss, and if you focus on it, it can become overload as well. But the body adapts. So that's why such long process of meditation. But he did not practice hatha yoga. He did not practice pranayama, specific for awakening the kundalini, and not only for awakening but also for preparing the body, cleansing the nadis. Pranayama is something that can cleanse the nadis, and if you do it correctly together with the right combination of uh, there's three combinations of pranayama, right? That is important. So two of which is necessary, but if you adopt the third one, it's going to hasten the process as well. But basically, I think reflecting just two, because just pranayama alone, the one pranayama that took some of the people a very short space of time to experience the samadhi, um, I believe can be fast forwarded with a second more powerful kundalini samadhi. If you put that two together, and it's easy to adopt, and just You don't have to become vegetarian immediately, but you reach a certain level of pranayama, then you're going to have to, cut back, on your meat consumption. And I had people attain advanced levels of pranayama with the omnivore diet, but with the mainly plant-based foods, whole foods, right? So they ate probably on a daily basis, just a little bit of, chicken or fish or meat or something, right? And they try to avoid red meat. And so there's a lot of, this thing. So I've got experience, or, with teaching students and testing my protocols with students in over 100 countries over the last 44 years. And I kept refining and refining and refining, as the decades were passing and the years were passing. And I'm learning more and more, even up to now, up to this day. I'm learning more. As recently as just a few days ago, I had epiphanies and newer, realizations of how to. My task is to refine the protocols to make things faster, easier, quicker for the 21st century. I'm focusing on taking the ancient sciences and adapting it to the 21st century more on a scientific basis than and removing religion from the picture, right? Because religion is something that was there to guide people in a different time, that needed moral and ethical, guidance to keep civilization together. And now we are, getting more deeper thinking people, where they don't not easy for them to just accept, something, on just faith, or to just follow, something that's written in a book that was written thousands of years ago. So there's a large majority of people who are very skeptical, about this. And there are many people who, have faith in it. Myself, although I'm speaking this way from a scientific perspective, I also have, because that's my background. I'm coming from a faith, background. But I never bring that as an important element in my yoga, advanced yoga and meditation sessions, or even my energy healing sessions. I don't, bring. I use scientific methods. I use a scientific method of scientifically accepted method of energy healing, um, uh, which is bioenergy healing is accepted and it's certifiable, and you can have a licensed practice in the Western countries, like in Europe, UK, and in the US as well, right? You can practice this practice. And also, coming back to simplifying things, I believe that following this is going to be the easiest way, from all the methods, for any person, right, in any age group, to be able to follow. And I know one particular person who took it up, who didn't do yoga or anything. He was overweight. He had a massive stomach, right? In my opinion, called massive, right? And he was in his old age, right? Because old age is from 70 plus. He was 70 plus, and then he adopted this method, just the pranayama, and he was a vegetarian. And he decided now he wants to take the practice to the next level. And then he took permission for his wife to take a break from a normal intimacy. And his wife says, no problem, you can go ahead. And he didn't need to wait very long. It was about a year or two. It I think it was a few months or so, but not more than 2 years, right? Anything between a few months to 2 years. And of course, he described what is described, his experience, and seeing the thousand petal lotus and seeing the beauty and the awe of everything, relates directly to the description of Gopi Krishna, right? And and I used to think, this guy doesn't, how is he, and he never used to spend his life, hours every day meditating and so forth, and attained it, that way. And not him, there were multiple, occasions. And even when I was taught by many masters, they told me like certain things, and certain things that normally kept very big secrets. in the meditation fields. And it's so you we get so many monks, Buddhist monks that are monks for so many decades, but they're not practicing the pranayama, right? They're just practicing meditation, right? And yes, they can make more progress in meditation with the combination of celibacy and meditation, but this can take many decades, right? I've met people, many people who are meditating and celibate for decades, right, and haven't attained the samadhi level, right? And it took them long. It's not that they want it. If they continue at it, probably after 20, 30, 40, maybe 30, 40 years, right? But not less than 10 years, right? But with the pranayama, method, um, the specific method is, you have to do it under the guidance of an advanced yoga and meditation teacher because it can be very dangerous, right? And even as you're developing, you need to be able to connect with that person. You can't just do it on your own because you can get lost into oblivion, right? And it's worse than life threatening because you can go into an is dealing with alternative dimensions now, not only this dimension, right? That's why I say connect with someone who's competent, like myself. I don't know other teachers, who can guide you this way, the way that I can, but I've had the good fortune to have good masters and good guidance, and also experience and teaching for a long time, and a very inquiring mind. Uh, and with a mission to find. So my mission was not enlightenment because I attained samadhi at the age of 19, right, and multiple times, and I know what it is, and it's not something that I want to go into because it's really mind blowing, right? Literally mind blowing, body blowing, self. It's not for me not a pleasant experience, right? And I mean, I can experience bliss and so forth, on a milder level that I can withstand. And very often it gets to levels that I could not, cannot, and I stop meditating at that stage. Or I try to, quickly practice the thing that helps me, tone down that blissfulness is I quickly, like, focus my mind, go into, my phone and go into my podcasts or YouTube channels and take my divert my mind, or quickly try to do some type of a yoga posture to divert my energies, that's building up in my body and to spread it out, and I think that's not going to work for too long as well. But diverting the mind and the focus, helps a lot to bring you back because it becomes like overwhelming. It's like not for me, it's not a very good experience. Of course, it's for every person. They want to experience. You want to experience for yourself and know, right? Know it for yourself. And of course, there is other strategies and so forth that needs to go if you want to be able to withstand it and hold it and remain in it. So that is not my goal. My goal is to create simpler, easier protocols, to attain the highest levels, right? And it's easy for me to go and remain the highest level, and boom, I will relinquish, my life and go and remain in that blissful state, for all eternity, right? And but that I believe is selfishness, and I don't feel any benefit in that. I feel better if I can help other people, to attain it, and especially if this information which is kept so many secrets, I've uncovered so many. If all these no longer is secrets, it's so hard to get these secrets out because there's so many scams and false informations and so forth, but of course my students can attest, they get faster results, right? Forget about other people's attestations and testimonials, try it for yourself, right? And I hope that information helps you, and take care of yourself